Morning, welcome to the Texas Real Estate Show. And here we are on this bright and breezy Thursday morning. The time is approximately noon, and we are looking forward to discuss some of the issues that we've had this week within real estate in Texas and also in some of the other states as well. It's proven pretty interesting to see some of the things that are happening regarding residential and commercial. We like to be an information source for whether you're an investor or a wannabe investor or a real estate agent or a wannabe real estate agent, or even if you're looking to take your real estate business to the next level, then we are interested in meeting you. So, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'd love to hear from you. We're on YouTube at noon every week. And as always, I'd like to introduce to my one and only, the best loan officer in Texas, Mr. James Lee.
Ooh, your words are too kind, too kind. Glad to be here, sir, on this breezy Thursday, as you put it. Not quite the first day of winter, but feels like winter is upon us. So we'll see what happens.
I think the weather's fabulous at the moment. I
I
love
think
this
that's
type of
great.
weather.
Yeah,
I
with
love this
the
type of
sun's
weather.
out, cool breeze. You can keep the windows open on your car and save a little bit of gas. I'm liking it. I am liking it at all turns for sure. What we got going on today, man, in real estate? A
Well,
little few nuggets that we can share. I know the Feds had a meeting yesterday, and they did hike
what you reading into
rates
that?
a
What
half a point or 50 basis points was an increase. It's essentially going to be kind of the trajectory that we'll be going to try to curb this inflation. And I think it's a move in the right direction. The bonds reacted at first, but they came back. But they went up in a direction that we thought that they would go. Um, because I think we've kind of seen the worst of what we'll see with the rates, and from here on out, it'll just kind of be determined on how things go with spending. So I think you can look forward to these rate hikes to kind of come periodically to help stave off a little bit of this inflation. So it was cool. I will say this: I was excited to put gas in my car yesterday. Premium was $2.99 a gallon, so hadn't been down there in a while.
Mhm.
I was excited.
Well, I'm glad you're excited about something,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
James.
absolutely.
Well, so um, housing prices and the housing market. What do you think? What do you think the kickback's going to be
Oh,
from?
we're already hearing it. So and specifically, which we say this all the time, and again, not a knock towards builders, but a lot of people that got into this market, they bought new homes at these inflated prices. They're probably going to be underwater.
They reckon, at the moment they reckon 20%.
And some of those that were in these bidding wars in some markets. Houston had pockets of it as well, where they were, buying for 10, 15, 20, $30,000 over list price. You'll probably find yourself underwater for a little while because the homes, they weren't worth that. And now that things are kind of leveling out, those of you that bought above the appraisal value, you'll be upside down, unfortunately.
Unless you're in it for a time.
Yeah.
Unless you're in it
If you're,
for
I mean, it'll come back. It's
if
not
you're in
like a
it for
death
seven,
sentence.
10 years, then
It'll definitely come back, but don't try
right.
to sell it anytime soon. The next year or two, because I don't see that happening at all. But yeah, my brother, for funny enough, he lives in Austin for now, and he's been kind of throwing around some places on where he might want to move to. But he reached out to me about an article that was talking about in that area, like up to 40% of people being underwater in Austin. But Austin's been crazy for a while. That as far as the market goes, big
Right.
values.
But no, it's an interesting situation. Can you take that down? Just so it was. I needed to take that down.
Mm, I don't think it's up on the screen now.
He's got it on. He's got it on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
The user housing market heads to still in correction mode. these two charts. So can you go to the one with the what I wanted to do, Everett, is go to the one that has the picture of the markets. If you go up quite a bit, US housing markets heads into 2000 is still in correction mode. But the one with the picture of the United States,
Gotcha.
that's the one we need to get to. So I thought this was really interesting, James, and it says that the US housing market heads into 2023 still in correction mode. These two charts show what's happening. Well, if you look at the Houston area, it basically says the shift in home prices since their respective 2022 peak, we're still at zero. And then,
I see that.
and if you go to the Florida, I mean, you get to but look where the problems are. The problems are going to be out in California.
Yeah, on the West Coast.
The West Coast, it's going to be a problem.
I think Oregon,
We all
Washington.
know that prices were completely overinflated. On the West Coast.
And honestly, I think in a lot of places, they started where the prices were listed properly, right? Even here. But in order to win the bid, people were bidding, so much over of the price and paying the difference to get it.
And the part that drives me nuts about that is people just don't understand how builders work, because with builders, they have unlicensed people working for builders.
Hmm.
So indirectly, they it's disputable to me whether it's a factual, whether they have to be factual or not.
Well, the thing is, they create their own comps. I think I
Yeah.
told you one
Yeah.
an agent that used to work here with you.
Yeah.
Their house, that thing appraised for like 50,000 less, but they kept the price the same.
For the first one.
Yeah, and then gave her the difference on the back end, so it would show on the paper that they sold that one for that price.
What was interesting, one of my agents bought a house not last year but the year before, and similar area to where you live now, and she bought a brand new house. I think it was 350,000. She came in one day boasting and sort of saying, my house is worth 100,000 more this year
Right.
than what it was last year. I can't believe the price of the houses, and we're on a bigger lot, and we're on a corner lot, and da 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 da. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what she's thinking now.
Now, right.
Is it still worth 450? Quite honestly, I don't know. But I thought this was really interesting. It had a picture of the whole US, and it's had the various areas. I know my daughter is in St. Marcos she's doing a degree in international finance, and she lives in St. Marcos, which isn't far from Austin, and rents are very high there, and the price of houses. I looked at purchasing a house for her.
Oh,
over
it's
there,
expensive.
and the one of the houses I looked at was literally a complete rehab. Had no sheetrock, needed new electric, new gas. It had new permitting throughout the whole house, and it was like 110,000.
Oh, so it needed all of that done
It
to it?
needed everything. I mean, it needed re-permitting. It needed everything
Oh,
done.
wow.
And
And they were still
and
selling it for.
and it was like 100 and maybe 125,000 or something like that. You know, um, was there money to be made in it? I don't know, but from a management point of view, when I'm in Houston, and
Yeah.
how can you oversee contractors and trust contractors when they're out in Austin?
Yeah, you'd have to literally stay
I
over
would have
there.
to stay there
Yeah,
for literally a couple of weeks to
until it's
oversee it.
done. Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty interesting. So overall, you think the outlook for 2023 is good?
I think it is good, man. I was even telling my wife that. I think 23 is probably going to surprise all of us. Um, if nothing more than just seeing an influx of new buyers coming in. Because I don't know about any of your agents, if y'all had a discussion. There are a lot of people that I know that the leases are coming up in that first quarter, and they don't want to renew. They want to get on the ladder and buy something. Even with the rates being higher than they were last year or end of the year before, they feel that buying something is a better investment for their money, which I can get behind. Again, I'm not one of those
And
to
it
say that
becomes
renting
more
is
of
a
a. I mean, I've got
a waste,
I've got
but
some landlords that we manage properties for, and they've been putting rents up like
well,
three
that's the
hundred
deal.
dollars a month.
That's the deal. I'm not saying renting is a waste, but rent is going to continually go up. Period.
And that's 1,700. Like there's one young lady, she's the early 20s, real nice couple, and the landlord's decided he's going to put the rent up $300 a month, which I think is an overkill.
He put it up at one time.
Yeah, $300.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And basically, she's taken it. She's signed it on the 12-month lease. But the truth of the matter is, that $1,700 she could put towards a mortgage. You know,
Yep.
um, and there's some new programs out there now that you've mentioned on the Texas Real Estate Show. What's the system you said that steps up over time?
So there's a 2-1 buy down.
It's called a
That
two.
is a product called a 2-1 buy down, and basically, it will start at 2 points below market. So let's say today, if the rate is 6.25, it would start at 4.25 for the first year, and then in year two, it would go to 5.25, and in year three, it would go to the 6.25. But the hope then is that within the next 2 years or so, or at least a year and a half, the rates will kind of stabilize, or maybe you can come down where you can refinance it and be at a regular
Right.
market rate.
And I personally think the people that are going to suffer are the commercial investors, because the commercial investors rely a lot on debt.
Yeah.
They don't put a lot of cash you know, into their deals. I mean, they basically rely on debt, and I think as that interest goes up, it's going to be harder for them. I think it's going to be a challenge on the commercial side of the business. We do a fair amount of commercial, and I really think that's going to be a challenge.
Well, I know occupancy had been down quite a bit for commercial because folks were working from home. That's just an added weight for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the other article I dug up, and I had to, because I completely disagreed with this article, which was the one that I put on Discord,
Yeah.
which was the 15 years ago, the housing market crashed under similar circumstances. Can you just scroll down a little bit there? Do you think the housing market crashed 15 years ago similar to what's going on now? Because I don't.
If we're saying similar as it happened, then sure, but it's not the same type of market as it was before.
It's definitely not the same reasons.
It's not. It's not. And anyone that feels that way, I don't know, maybe they just weren't plugged in, but it's definitely a different market than it was the last time. That article, was that in the Discord as well?
Yeah, it
Let
was.
me get in here.
But
Here we go.
they say that the first quarter of 2007, U.S. housing prices were at an all-time high, and the Fed was raising interest rates after a series of rate hikes. The Fed funds rate reached 5.25, the highest point in 6 years.
I think the rates at that time, rates kind of went up around. They got up quite a bit because I can remember when it happened. 401ks and a lot of that stuff was got hit
But the problem
quite a bit.
But the problem 15 years ago was that the market dropped, so the value the value of the properties dropped, and the mortgages were higher than what was the mortgages were higher than what the value of the properties were. So people were just walking away from it. They're thinking, what's the point?
Well, see, the deal back then, it was so many people. It was so much easier to get a home loan.
Appraise a
People
property.
people were buying properties. People had second homes, multiple investment properties. So when it was easy to walk away from something, they just walked away from it. A lot of consumer debt was higher back then as well. So um, I don't think it's the same. Having lived through it, thank God we're past it. But yeah, it was tough times, man. It was definitely tough times. I can remember it, but we made it through, and we're gonna make it through this one too. The median home price is almost double what it was back then. So I think we'll see some shifts in the right direction, and hopefully we'll see the turn in our favor.
Yeah, well, I definitely think it's an interesting time. I really do. For real estate in general.
Yeah, it's a time to get educated in the piece in the space. I don't know what if you've noticed or not, but there have been a ton of real estate agents getting their broker license, taking the broker test. Not that they want to try to open up their business, but I've seen several take that test and kind of get that under their belt. Because I think many are seeing that there will probably be a shift in the future. Where they might be able to get and start their own teams if that's what they want to do, or just to have the knowledge. But I think this is the time to kind of get more educated about the process, about how to gather business, and it'll weed some people out. Some of those onesie twosie, those people that don't take it as a full time career, or even as a really a part time career seriously. I think it'll weed some of those folks out because business being kind of slow. So you need to kind of know what you're doing a bit more to survive this type of market.
Absolutely. And then the result of the Fed hike yesterday, have you seen the stock market today?
Oh man, when I looked, it was down 3/6.
You know,
I don't know if it's still down that
Dow's
much.
down 917 points,
Oh man,
S&P 111,
Yeah,
and Nasdaq, which is 373 down.
doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at
Terrible
all.
numbers, terrible numbers.
But
But
it's
if you've got the cash, time to buy.
yeah, buying the dip, right? That's what they say.
Buy when there's blood on the streets.
Buy when it's bloody.
And Tesla is the lowest it's been.
Let me see, where is old Tesla?
158 it is at the moment.
Oh yeah, 158.01. Apple's even down, man. 136.
Yeah, Tesla owned at 153. That's the lowest it's ever been.
Is that the lowest?
Obviously, from when it started out, but it's been the lowest it's been for a long time.
153 was the lowest.
That it's been for a long.
Man, it's pretty
time.
close. That's pretty
Before the
close.
split,
Before the split, yeah.
it nearly made what, $900. I was always against the split anyway. I don't think the split was a good idea.
Oil's down. Everything's down, man. My whole screen's red. It's a bloody mess out here. But guess what's up? Mortgage-backed securities are up, and that's typically how it goes. If the bonds are down, bonds are up. Um, Stock market's usually pretty bad. So, 10-year treasuries at 343. We want to try to get that. If we can get that to 320, man, we're going to start seeing some pretty decent interest rates come back in our direction. And you might see some people.
But the Fed's got to
trying
take
to
the foot off the
refinance.
gas, I think, to get the economy going again.
They've got to do it, man. It's no way, no other way to do it. Too much money, too few goods. That's our inflation. That's where we are when
And
it
then
gets
from
to
a
that point.
worldwide point of view, I think, I don't think it's a good time to just do it just yet, to go too hard on the gas.
On gas prices.
No. I mean, I don't think it's too hard from the things that's happening around the world with Ukraine and the oil
And now
the
Africa.
mess that Europe's going in,
Yeah.
and Africa as well. I just think it's they just need to pull back just a little bit. Let's go a little bit softer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's been fun though. I will say.
over the
seeing this
year,
year.
how do you think it's gone? It's been an interesting year.
This
hasn't it?
year has been tough, for sure. But I'm still encouraged because I'm still here, and I know there's. I think the worst is behind us. I think that's where I'm more encouraged because I believe that the worst is behind us. We do have another year Biden, but still, that's neither here nor there. We'll continue to push in our industry for people that are interested in buying homes. So there's still a good time to buy. Don't listen to anyone telling you it's not a good time to buy. You need to buy now while you can, because the common layman is not going to run into all the competition that they usually do when it's a market where it's hot. So
And I think that especially in the Sun Belt, all the Sun Belt prices seem pretty firm. I mean, you've seen the map earlier on. The Sun Belt is,
oh yeah, we're all yellow and orange on this side.
yeah,
Everything else
which
was
is,
purple and red and whatever else color that was.
so buy yourself a second home, or if not, come down here and live.
Absolutely.
Anyway, with that being said, that's another week for the Texas Real Estate Show. We like to keep it short and sweet.
You got it.
And we'll be here next week. That will be probably the last show of the year.
Oh yeah, next week. That's the couple days before Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I guess we'll be here with our Christmas hats next week.
Oh, maybe I might put my gym jams on, as you say, huh?
Oh, there you go. Let's do that. We'll hold you to that. All right, guys. Until next week. We hope you have a good week. If you work in real estate, have a good week. Go get yourself some deals out there. Write some contracts. And look, tune in next week. Until then, peace.